Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna have my wife help me here. I'm gonna pry this back and then have her twist it. There we go. Hold on. You're stuck. Let me see if I can use a pry bar. Okay. Slowly let it slowly release. And now it's just a matter of getting the exhaust flange in the back lined up. We're ready to install our gasket, our bolts back in. What's up, everyone? So I got another video today. So today we are going to be installing a brand new catalytic converter on a 2012 Ford Fiesta. This model would be the S or SE model. I believe the part number was the same for both. So the vehicle's got about 140,000 miles on it. Need to get it smogged, and we have a check engine light on for catalytic efficiency below threshold. We have diagnosed it. It is a cat. One of the biggest giveaways, though, was really that when my wife goes to turn the car on in the morning to warm it up in the garage, you really just get that like harsh carbon monoxide scent, which doesn't entirely mean it's bad, but it was just kind of a bit of a giveaway. The check engine light, and then two, when we check the pre-cat and post-cat O2 sensors, the post-cat O2 sensor is actually switching quite a bit as if it were the pre-cat O2 sensor. So typically what happens is when your catalytic converter is running efficiently and it's good, you will see very little fluctuation in that O2 sensor that is post-cat or past the cat. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace it. I do have the part here. It was a dealership part. So got a little lucky because this is actually both the manifold assembly as well as the catalytic converter, so there's no cutting and welding, so that's always nice. Here is the part number. So the part number is actually this 5G232 part number. I had to get it at the dealership. I went to 4 of your kind of like brick and mortar parts stores, you know, locally and whatnot. They couldn't carry it. I do require a 50-state legal cat, so that's why I had to go to the dealership. And it turns out that purchasing the cat and me doing the work is about half the cost of what it would have been to have a shop order the cat for me, cut it, weld it, and, you know, do the labor. So I'm going to go ahead and do it myself. I'm totally fine with that. And then we shouldn't get hassled from the smog tech or anything on visual. No issues are going to happen, so that's going to be good. So that's the part number for that. We also have the 2 gaskets. So here's the exhaust manifold gasket here. This is the one that actually touches the cylinder block head. Give you part number BE8Z9448D, and then the gasket for the exhaust. And this is part number 2S6Z9450A. So hopefully that'll help you out. So I did require giving the last 8 of my VIN over to the parts person at the dealership. So had to give him that as just a bit of information to making sure that I had the correct part. So anyways, let's go ahead and let's get started. Alright, so we got a flashlight. So as you can see right up here, this piece, this will be that first heat shield we were talking about. So it looks like you can see the 2 screws somewhat from here. Then we have the shield right there in the back. There's a different shield. And then we have our O2 sensor back there. Not sure how good you can see that. And then we have our pre-cat O2 sensor right here. So this being the connected, this green one here. So what I'm going to do is, sometimes those things get jammed up. So it's good to lubricate them a little bit, either with PB Blaster or WD-40. I am going to use WD-40 to lube them, but I'm actually just going to disconnect the plug, and I'm going to take it out as an assembly, so I don't even have to mess around with what's going on down there. Okay, so that should be simple enough. Alright, so just to give you guys an update, so I've removed the heat shield now. I've removed, so out of those 5 bolts that actually hold down the exhaust manifold, we have 4 of them that are nuts. So there's a nut on this one, this one, this one, and that one. This one right here is a bolt. That one I've left in there. And the reason I've done that is for when I unhook everything down below, I'll still have something to kind of catch it so it doesn't just kind of drop. Although it does look a little snug, but we'll kind of play it case by case once we get to that point. So these are a 15mm head nut. Okay. The bolt right here in the middle is 13. The heat shield is a 1-piece heat shield. 10mm, 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 and 10mm. So, given the shape of the heat shield, I did not take it out. I did move it out of the way. Let me access all the bolts. I probably could take it out. I didn't mess around too much with it. I did unplug the connector here for the pre-cat O2 sensor. Right here. See if I can get a good shot of it. A little green right here. And just kind of moved it all out of the way. So now we are ready to go down below. What we're going to do is we're going to jack up the vehicle, make sure to put it on jack stands. And then we are going to loosen up the two nuts on the studs that hold the cat back on there. And then I got to identify what these two bolts are here. So we'll have another update. So just to let you guys know, so this thing did angle. You want to be careful about not scratching the surface here. I'm actually just going to put this back in the box to ensure I don't damage the mating surface there. And then we're just going to continue on. So, alright, so as you can see here, I have loosened up the two bolts that hold the flange that is past the cat to the rest of the cat back. That was two 15mm nuts. One right there on that stud, one right here on that stud. As you can see, it's a little wet because I did put some WD-40 on it. I had to wait maybe like 2-3 minutes. Went in there and it came off pretty easily. You might be able to tell just based on the overall condition underneath. So we don't actually, I don't live in snow or anything, so I don't have to worry about too much rust. So that's loose now. So the only other thing, oh, and let me mention, so there was two other 10mm bolts on the bottom here. As you can see, I had to remove those two, and those hold the exhaust, and it looks like the bracket is attached to the engine block right there. Not sure if you can see that. So now it's completely loose except for that one 10mm, 13mm bolt up top that I told you guys about earlier. And then I just have to unplug that O2 sensor, and then the real challenge is going to be how the heck does this thing get out of here. It's a really tight spot. I will probably have to mess around with it to see where it's going to come out from. But essentially that's where we're at. So I'm going to unplug that. I'm going to try messing around with it, see if I can possibly show you how I get it out, but even though I'm not really sure how yet, but we'll go ahead and we'll double check that. So I gave myself quite a bit of room. I did jack up the car quite a bit. So we're just going to go ahead and hope that that's enough room, or see if we can finesse it out somehow. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll continue that. And so far it's not too bad. We're almost about 30-35 minutes in. I got to double check the clock there, but it hasn't been too bad, and it's pretty much unbolted for the most part. So I think the real trouble is going to be, how is this thing coming out? But we'll figure that out here in a sec. Alright, so finally able to get it out. So this is the last thing. So I took out the top piece that you didn't see in the last clip of the cowl that was on top. So we took that out. Then got a pry bar. Okay. Got a pry bar. Use the shock tower here, and then use where the engine mount goes to the, I don't know, I guess the engine block. This is probably also a different adapter. Oh no, it's built into the block. Okay, so I just pried from here to the shock tower, put my arm here, moved it back, and my wife actually helped me out. So this originally is facing towards the engine here, towards the front of the vehicle. Once it comes up, we were able to turn it around 180. You want to be careful not to damage the surface here, where the face of the exhaust manifold and the head block meet. And then we just brought it out. So we're able to take it out now, and it has to go back the same way. Okay, so I'm gonna have my wife help me here. I'm gonna pry this back, and then have her twist it. There we go. Hold on. You're stuck. Let me see if I can use a pry bar. Okay, slowly let it slowly release. And now it's just a matter of getting the exhaust flange in the back lined up. We're going to install our gasket, our bolts back in. Alright, you can go ahead and let that go, thank you. Sweet, so that's how it goes back in. So now I'm just going to start putting it back together. And I'm going to install the studs on the cylinder head, put the gasket in here, start putting the heat shield back on, the O2 sensors, go back and put the cowl back on, and then we'll be good. So I think I'm going to wait to do the cowl last, and the reason I say that, I want to go ahead, turn on the vehicle. I don't need to be underneath the vehicle anyway, so I can have that on the ground, but it gives me a good opportunity to check and make sure I have no exhaust leaks, and then I'll go ahead and cover it up. It'll just make it easier because there's a lot of space. Alright guys, so as you can see, got it all back together. I still haven't put the cowl piece on. I did just turn it on. Didn't hear any exhaust leaks or anything. The post-cat O2 sensor. So that would be the one after the catalytic converter. So you can see hopefully down there with the orange wire coming out of it. So that one is not too bad to hook up, but I would recommend before you start connecting the exhaust manifold to go ahead and put that in there first. You can tighten it fairly easily. Make sure you use a little bit of Loctite so it doesn't seize up on you for next time, or if you ever have to remove it in the future. The top one you can access here without the cowl on. So that's pretty much it. We turned it on, didn't hear the exhaust leaks, nothing. I'm gonna go ahead and put all the cowl stuff on there. I'm not sure if you need to see that or not, but I'm gonna leave that out of the video for now. Putting it back together on the bottom was not too bad either, so just be warned that depending on how much oil you have on your hands, once you put it back together and you turn it on, as the exhaust starts warming up, you will see some smoke. Don't be alarmed. Obviously, be cautious and verify there's just oil burning, but for the most part you will see that. And then, like I said, I still have to put the cowl back on, but other than that, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you guys learned something out of it. I learned something from it, and I will not be doing this job again, but you guys have fun with it. So see you guys on the next one. Peace.